Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everybody to the MCE Executive Committee meeting. It's Monday, June 1st, 2026. Due to some technical difficulties, we're starting at 12:06. All right, let's get started. Madam Clerk in Concord, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Belvedere? Benicia?
Here.
Concord?
Present.
Contra Costa County? Fairfax?
Here.
Larkspur?
Here.
Mill Valley?
I just got a text from him that he had to drop his mother off for an MRI and he'll be here about 12:20.
Thank you, Chair. The City of Napa?
Here.
Pinole? San Rafael?
Here.
Walnut Creek?
Here.
Quorum established.
Thank you. I also want to welcome Director Painter to, I think this is your first XCOM meeting. Welcome. All right.
I've been on XCOM actually since January, I believe.
Okay, well, it shows you how much.
Good to be here.
I apologize. Welcome
No problem.
anyway. All right, and let's do public open time. Is anyone in San Rafael interested in speaking in public open time? No. Anyone in Concord interested in speaking in open time?
There are no members of the public here in Concord.
Okay, Director Painter, anyone in Napa?
There are no members of the public in Napa.
Okay, and Belvedere, is there anyone?
There are no members of the public in Belvedere.
Great, thank you. Are there any members of the public on Zoom who'd like to speak in open time?
I see no raised hands online, Chair.
Okay, closing public open time. Let's have a report from our interim chief executive officer. Is Vic in there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great.
Good afternoon, committee members and members of the public. I'm very pleased to share that last week, Standard & Poor's Global Ratings affirmed MCE's A issuer credit rating with a stable outlook, underscoring continued confidence in MCE's financial strength and operational resilience. According to S&P, the assessment reflects MCE's very healthy liquidity totaling $554 million, equivalent to 244 days of operating expenses. Its diverse renewable energy portfolio, supported by approximately 58 long-term contracts, and its lack of outstanding debt. S&P Global report also highlighted MCE's broad customer base of more than 600,000 accounts across 38 member communities, strong customer retention, and negligible opt-outs, all indicators of enduring stability. Next, I'd like to share some positive results from one of our marketing campaigns that you may have heard about it in one of our recent press releases. A targeted campaign encouraging customers to shift energy usage outside of 4 to 9 p.m. delivered more than $380,000 in customer savings on a total campaign cost of $130,000. We saw 75% residential and 60% of commercial customers who received direct mail shift their usage, which is a remarkable response for behavior change. It reinforces that with the right data and timely targeted outreach, we can reduce grid strain at peak demand by shifting load while delivering clear value back to our customers. We're looking forward to building on these efforts with future campaigns. Also like to take a moment to recognize one of our employees who has been named among the North Bay Business Journal's 40 Under 40 honorees. Some of you may know Mariela Herrick, our Senior Community Development Manager, whose community leadership was recognized for convening our Community Power Coalition and strengthening relationships with our customers, municipalities, and partners in Napa and Solana counties. And again, big thank you and congratulations, Mariela. Finally, I want to announce a couple of upcoming opportunities for engagement. We are planning 2 workshops, possibly on June 24 from 4:30 to 6:30 in the afternoon, and on July 1 from 4:30 to 5:30 to invite both the public and the board to discuss and provide input on MCE's procurement practices. The first workshop will focus on Index Plus and hedges. The second will focus on resource adequacy. Both will be based on facts, options, and implications. We are looking forward to creating a space to receive input on those core issues and to engaging in an open dialogue. A diversity of fact-based perspectives makes our work stronger, and we're committed to growing stronger together. I believe these topics are fundamental to start rebuilding mutual trust and eventually take the necessary steps for bringing to the board core policy decisions on energy and finances for our collective future by the end of the year. To support broad participation, people will be able to join from our Concord or San Rafael offices or virtually. Invitations from our board office clerks will be sent out soon. Thank you.
Vicky, could you remind us of those two dates and times again?
Yes, June 24th, 4:30 to 6:30, and July 1st, 4:30 to 5:30. We thought that later on in the afternoon, after a workday, and opening up both of our offices and online, it will really facilitate public and board member participations. And legal is trying to make sure that we have the broadest Q&A based participation from all the experts and experienced folks that would be outside as well, in addition to MCE staff.
Okay, great. And just one, sorry, my pen wasn't working. Was it SBC Global that gave us the credit rating of A?
Oh, Standard and Poor's,
Oh, okay.
S&P.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any questions for the CEO? I'll ask Concord first.
This is Director Nakamura in Concord. I greatly appreciate the time frame for those two dates and would love to get those on my calendar as soon as possible. So if staff is able to get those invitations. Something you said, Vicken, was that there's a possible, it didn't sound definitive, but are those dates?
They're almost in concrete.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give a little bit of flexibility in case there is something, but the board office is supposed to send out those invites shortly.
Okay, great. As soon as the dates are
Yes.
firmed up. Oh, I really appreciate the time frame as someone who has a day job. This is something that makes it much more possible for me to attend. Thank you.
And this is Director Darling. I just want to say thank you. You know, Vic and I have been talking about this and the importance of closing. Everybody has the same mutual understanding on some of these points. It'll be really important for us going forward. So I appreciate the effort staff's putting into this.
Thank you. Other questions in Concord? Seeing none, moving on to Director Painter.
No questions, but thank you for the updates.
Okay, and questions in San Rafael, Director Lawrence Galati.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate having the space for engagement with the community. I was just curious to see if there will be another option instead of July 1st, because that is kind of like the 4th of July weekend type of thing. So I was just curious to see if there would be some possibility to make sure that people are available and they can engage. So it's just a question comment, I guess.
I just want to say that these are not one-shot deals. They will require several rounds of discussions. That's my expectations. So if we can have the meeting, my inclination is to hold the meeting, but we will definitely repeat these things and flesh out any differences and approaches and options that the board would need to ultimately consider giving us as direction. But I hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I love to hear that. Thank you so much.
Anyone else in San Rafael? Okay, and now I'll go on to members of the public. Do we have members of the public in San Rafael? No. Do we have members of the public in Belvedere who have any comments?
There are no members of the public here.
Okay, and Napa?
No members of the public.
Okay, Concord.
None in Concord.
Okay, thank you. Tanya, is there anyone with their hands raised on Zoom?
I see no raised hands online, Chair.
Okay, let's close that item up. And I do think, Vicken, it would be good to consider that July 1st date because a lot of people may be out that week. And even though we will be repeating this, it does seem like we ought to consider that. You know, I know summer's hard for everyone because of kids' vacations, all that, but just think about that. Thank you. Let's move on to the consent calendar. And as you know, we can make a motion for the consent calendar as a whole in one fell swoop. But I want to ask first, in San Rafael, does anyone want to pull anything off of consent? Napa? No? Okay. Anyone in Concord want to pull anything off consent? No? I don't hear anything from Concord. Nothing?
We're happy.
Okay, well, we love that. And I also want to note that Director Murphy, welcome, has joined us. Thank you. I want to open this up to public comment. Are there any public comments in Napa? None. I see none in San Rafael. Any in Concord?
None in Concord?
Any in Belvedere?
None in Belvedere.
Okay, and uh, is there anyone on Zoom wanting to comment on the consent calendar?
I see no raised hands online, Chair.
Okay, I will, and I also want to note that Director Perret has joined us. Welcome, Director Perret. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Director Darling
make
will
a
move
motion.
to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have Director Darling moved approval, Director Lawrence Galati seconded. Could we have a roll call vote, Madam Clerk, please?
Yes. Benicia?
Yes.
Concord?
Yes.
Fairfax?
Yes.
Larkspur?
Yes.
Mill Valley?
Yes.
The City of Napa?
Yes.
Pinole?
Yes.
San Rafael?
Yes.
Walnut Creek?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're moving on to proposed resolution 2026-05, authorizing remote participation at meetings of the MCE Board and MCE Finance Committee, discussion and action. And I'm guessing that Linda Lai or Justine Parmalee will be taking this on.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start, but the deep legal questions can be kicked to Linda during this one. We wanted to bring something to your committee to consider to forward to the board that provides a little bit more flexibility for remote participation. So SB 707 did allow multi-jurisdictional bodies to be able to have a little bit more flexibility with regard to remote participation, limiting it to 2 meetings per year per board member, where we still need 72 hours notice at least, because it does need to be noticed on the agenda, but where we can list you as remote as opposed to noticing a teleconferencing location. All other requirements still apply. You need to have two-way audio visual. We need to be able to see you. We need to be able to hear you. We also found in our deep dive that the Finance Committee as an advisory body is also eligible for this. Some of those requirements, you do need to be 20 miles physically at the time of the meeting away from a notice meeting location. So you can't join from down the street. But if you're in Sacramento, for example, or in DC or traveling and you still want to participate, and maybe you're somewhere where noticing the location would be difficult, such as a hotel, this would be an opportunity where you can let our clerks know and exercise your remote participation. Our clerks already track attendance, so it wouldn't be really much of an add to staff time to continue to monitor that attendance. And we just believe it would bring some flexibility for you all to consider. Again, cameras do need to be on. It does need to be that two-way participation. I also have the resolution here today with me in Word, should there be any edits that you'd like to see before, if you choose to bring it to the board.
Okay, I just want to remind folks that your cameras need to be on at all times. You can't turn them off at all. So let's open it up. Linda, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Actually, sorry, I did have one thing to note. You cannot receive compensation. Board members who receive compensation are not eligible for this. Currently, MCE does not compensate any board members. However, we would likely ask our board directors to see if their communities are compensating them for their MCE time before allowing them to exercise this.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to ask if there are any board members here who have questions of staff on this item. Oh, I see one just walked out. Okay, none. All right, let's move. Oh, Director Painter has her hand up.
I do have my hand up. Thank you, Chair. As a board member who participates regularly on a remote basis, I just want to confirm that the existing practices for remote participation, when they're noticed in the agenda, are not going to be impacted by this. And I don't believe that's the case, but I think in presenting this to the board and making it clear in the resolution, we should memorialize that because many of us as board members do rely on that. So if you could, number one, confirm that that will continue, and then just talk about trying to supplement either the staff report or resolution to clarify that that practice would remain in place.
Thank you so much, Director Painter. This is Linda, Live's Senior Counsel. I just wanted to clarify, I think we tend to use some of the language a little bit imprecisely for Brown Act purposes. So because you regularly participate from NAPA, we notice it, it's open, it's noticed, and it's available to the public. That's not technically a remote location. It is a teleconferenced location, and it is, for Brown Act purposes, equivalent to how we treat San Rafael and Concord. Internally, we think of it as different because we don't have MCE staff there to help support you, but for Brown Act purposes, the Napa location is teleconferenced and is equivalent to Concord and San Rafael. So that will continue in place. Remote for purposes of the Brown Act means we do not have to notice the physical location or make it accessible to, and it does not have to be accessible to the public. So that is the only distinction. Bottom line, this would not impact your ongoing practice, and we really appreciate with all the support that you've given to the teleconferencing and Brown Act compliance in NAPA.
Yeah, no, and I that's what I thought the answer was, but I think in presenting to the board and just for sake of clarity, if we could just add a few sentences to memorialize that, that would be really beneficial. Thank you so much, Linda.
Okay, great. And I had asked this question beforehand because I was calling, for example, Napa a remote location and learned the distinction. So I think really adding that will be really important because it is confusing, and making it very clear. People have to have their cameras on at all times and be participating, which may be difficult at times. Okay, it looks like we have a hand raised in Concord, and I see Director Darling.
Director Darling here. I had a question. This is more from a procedural standpoint. In the flow of the meetings, one of the things that takes a while when we have multiple remote locations is when we go to public comment saying, do you have somebody there that wants to comment? Would we need to do that for people participating in this manner? Because it will just make things, I just want to know.
No, for the purposes of this, a remote location, different from a teleconference location, does not require that it is available and open to the public.
Okay, great, thanks.
Others in Concord have any questions, comments? I see Director Murphy.
Yes, I see that. Thank you, Madam Chair. The staff report mentions that the MCE Board and Finance Committee qualify. Does that mean the other committees don't, or is there a reason why the Finance Committee is specifically mentioned here outside of the additional committees we have?
Hi, this is Linda from Legal again. It's based on the definition of eligible multi-jurisdictional body, which for some reason includes multi-jurisdictional bodies and their advisory committees. So a standing committee such as XCOM or TechCom, which have final approval authority under under various delegations, are not purely advisory. They have the power to act. Our Finance Committee is the only committee that is a purely advisory committee, so we think it's the only one that satisfies the unique definition under the Brown Act.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and I'm guessing there's no one in Belvedere that has a question?
There are no hands raised in Belvedere. Thank you.
Okay, before I open it to the public, I do have one question. So for those folks who, for example, are in Sacramento, what is the period of time that they have to notice that they're going to be doing this?
So we need to be able to notice it on our agenda. So the legal compliance deadline is 72 hours before a regular meeting, 24 hours before a special meeting. We would like a little more time than that so that we have time to actually notice and for our folks at teleconferencing locations. So we typically ask for 10 days before, but we can go as far as like 4 days before a meeting and still be able to notice it.
And forgive me, I think that was actually in the memo, but I read it several days ago. I think we need to be clear on that,
Yeah.
you know, because otherwise we might have people contacting us the day of, and that'll be more difficult. So let's take a hard look at that memo, because you guys are so close to it. You completely understand it. And, you know, full board, we may also have more questions. So with that, I'll open it up to public comment. No one here wants to comment. I'm assuming no one in Concord wants to comment from the public.
None in Concord, Chair.
And I don't believe there is anyone in Belvedere or Napa. So are there any hands raised, Tanya?
There are no raised hands on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, and I understand this is for us to make a recommendation to the full board to approve this resolution. So you need a motion to that effect.
We do.
Okay, I'll call for a motion. I think Director Lawrence Galati has it.
So I'll move to approve to make the recommendation. I'm going back to the title, I'm sorry. I'll make a motion to recommend the proposed resolution 2026-05, authorizing remote participation at meetings of the MCE Board and MCE Finance Committee.
This is Director Darling, and I'll gladly second that. I think this will be a great addition to our remote participation.
Okay, Madam Clerk, could you do a roll call vote? Thank you.
Excuse me, through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to confirm that this motion captures the requests from Director Painter.
Yeah, we will go ahead and we will update the staff memo with the notes that have been provided in this meeting.
Okay, the notice as well as the clarification that let's clarify that whole remote location thing.
Mhm.
I know that, and I think, is that a friendly amendment to the motion? Or just that you've been given direction?
For clarity, staff heard that as clarifying it in the memo to make it clear. Would that result in changes to the resolution itself?
I don't think so.
Then the motion should be fine as is.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, could you do a roll call vote then, please?
Yes. Benicia,
Yes.
Concord,
Yes.
Fairfax,
Yes.
Larkspur,
Yes.
Mill Valley,
Yes.
City of Napa,
Yes.
Pinole,
Yes.
San Rafael,
Yes.
Walnut Creek.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Let's move on to agenda and packet management technology challenges and opportunities. And I believe this is Justine Parmalee again.
Yeah, and I'm going to let our board clerk, Tanya Lomas, go ahead and kick us off over in Concord. She's going to walk us through our present state and start off the discussion.
Good afternoon, members of the Executive Committee. My name is Tanya Lomas. I am one of your board clerks here at MCE. I will be giving this presentation alongside our Vice President of Internal Operations, Justine Parmalee, and Jessica Brooks, who is unable to attend today. Like Justine said, I will be walking us through our current state of our packets. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Sorry, just a second. Okay. Now that I see it online. So what you're seeing on your screen is our meeting packet that is downloaded and opened in Adobe Acrobat. As you can see on the right side, we have put some bookmarks just for easier navigation of the packet. If you click on these bookmarks, it should take you to the item. So I'll use the consent item as, oh, sorry, I'm looking at that screen and, okay, here we go. So as you can see, if you click on an item, it usually jumps there. What we've recently added is hyperlinks to the agenda. And if you scroll down, you can also reach the agenda item just by clicking through the agenda here. Something new that we also added is hyperlinking the attachments in the staff reports as well. So I'm going to use this current meeting packet as an example. And this is the last item that we just went through. And as you can see, it does have a hyperlink for the attachment. And then if you click here, you can easily just navigate through the whole packet. I did want to also show where you can find the meeting packet. And if you usually get an email from the clerks, and then we usually link the packet there. And then we also include RSVP buttons at the bottom to let us know if you will attend the meeting, where you will be attending the meeting from. And then I will walk us through our website here. So we do have a few places that you can find our meeting packet. If you go to our homepage and you hit the menu here, it has a how do I on the side. And then if you click attend board meetings, I do already have this loaded up, but I'll go ahead and show you here. So this is our board meetings page. And then we do have our upcoming meetings, our more recent coming up meetings. And then, for example, we have the executive committee meeting. We have our technical committee meeting coming up on Friday. And then if you do scroll down a little further, you will find our meeting archive and you can find everything there. You could find our meeting packets, supplemental packets, regulatory packets, meeting minutes, and then also our video recordings. And we did also have a community events page, and I'll go back here to our homepage, and this is how you can find it. If you do open up that menu bar, if you hit in the community and hit community events, you'll be able to find the packet there as well. And I'll just show it here. It'll show all of the upcoming meetings for today, and then our upcoming meeting on Friday. I did also want to go back to the meeting archive. If you do click on our video links, as of April, we have started adding shortcuts to items within our YouTube links. If you go to the description, you could easily click on one of these and it'll just jump right to the item that you're looking for. And then another helpful tip that I wanted to add is I did show the downloaded packet, and you are able to click in the meeting archive and click the meeting packet. The links are still clickable, but it's just a little bit harder to view. My helpful tip is if you want to be able to see the navigation page with the bookmarks and the hyperlinks, I would download it just a little bit easier for navigation and your convenience. I'll just go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Stop share. Okay. And then I just want to take a pause here and kind of ask the committee members, what do you feel is working and what do you feel is not working with our current state of the packets?
Okay, before we do that, okay, so we're talking to board members and not community members. Do you have more in your presentation?
Yes, I do. Would you like me to continue and say?
Yeah, I think we
questions
should
for the end?
finish that and then I'll open it up to executive committee members. So if you don't mind, that would be
Okay.
great.
Okay, thank you. My next portion for this presentation is to kind of go over some of the agenda management softwares that other public agencies are using. And some of the examples of our cities and towns and counties include Granicus, On Agenda by Highland, eScribe, Proud City, Civic Clerk, and In-House Solutions. I do want to note that agenda management tools come at an added cost and can have a long implementation time and can require ongoing third-party support. On the other hand, members of the public may be familiar with these agenda management softwares and know how to navigate them. These tools also are coupled with things like annotation tools, vote tracking, minutes recording, and other added features. MCE currently does everything in-house, working between our clerks and their web development team. Some pros to this is we can be nimble and make updates very quickly, and we have little to added cost just because we are doing everything in-house. Some cons are that it may be lacking some of the features that you're familiar with or some other features that you're looking for. Our question to you is, would it be beneficial for us to start looking into agenda management softwares? And then if so, what are some of the features that you would like for us to kind of implement? And then, or try to replicate in-house at little cost, or if we try to implement them. And then we also want to ask you if there was guidance on if you need annotation tools and how we can support in this regard. And since we will be saving questions toward the end, I will pass it to Justine Parmalee to cover the last portion of this presentation, and then we'll open up for questions.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, and so the last thing that we are aware of, and that's out on the horizon, and just wanted to make you aware of, is that Clean Power Alliance is currently in the implementation stage for an electronic voting tool. That's something that they have vetted for their agency. They do have some different vote types than we do, of a different voting structure, but they also are very similar in that they have a very large board across multiple teleconference locations. So we just want to let you know that this is something that we're keeping an eye on and seeing on the horizon, seeing what their success metrics are, potentially looking at legally vetting those in-house if that's something that would be desired here. They're doing it to eliminate the need for a continual roll call vote times their soon to be 40 representatives. And it sounds a little familiar, and so that's why we're keeping an eye on it. These tools are relatively new in the public sector space, but have been used in private boards for a while. So some of them, in my opinion, are missing some of the features we might want, but that could come down the line in 6 to 12 months, could show up pretty quickly. And so why we reached out to you today for this, and as well as what Tanya has presented, is, we occasionally do receive one-off feedback from various committee members about things they'd like to see and changes they'd like to make. I, as a department head, do have to say I prefer free options. I prefer ones where I can get elbow deep and nitty gritty and we can do in-house. But if there are features amongst some of the tools you've seen out there that you would like us to implement, or if there are features on our websites or packets that are missing, please let us know, and we'll do the legwork to find out whether or not it can be done in-house or whether or not we need to look at these external tools for the agency.
Thank you. I want to mention that I've been talking to Justine probably over the last year about trying to do some kind of hyperlinks, because our packets, as we know, are very huge. And I believe all of us, even in small cities, are used to having hyperlinks in our packets. And appreciate that we've done that. Unfortunately, ours is quite clumsy and kicks you out of the packet once you go to the hyperlinks. So I've connected Justine next week, probably, or this week. I guess it's this week. We'll probably be talking to our town clerk. We don't use Granicus, and Granicus is very clumsy and very expensive. But we are working through our website, which is Proud City, but there are other techniques that our town clerk is familiar with that could be done free, that would work a little less, many steps. And so that might be workable, but those are just my thoughts. And I'm sure folks want things like the ability to annotate, et cetera. So for that, let's open it up to questions or comments from board executive committee members here in San Rafael. We have Stephanie Andre.
Great.
Director Andre.
First of all, I just want to say this has been a huge improvement in the last 18 months. So thank you to staff for implementing the hyperlinks. I have found that the agenda packets are very large. And so I think the hyperlinks, and also showing us where a lot more things are posted. And I think there's been a lot more transparency in terms of posting things. in a more timely fashion to our website as well. So I do appreciate that. Those have been some really positive changes. I think I have had some experience with some of the third-party software, and I wouldn't say that I would say some of them are very costly. So I think that if we already have a team in-house, I think the preference would be to try and implement the features that we want with the in-house team rather than going out and trying to spend additional money on a piece of software where, the cost benefit analysis, I just don't feel like that's there. I think that, if we can get the hyperlink to work, our municipal packets, if you click on a link, it actually brings up a separate, like it links to the document separately. So it doesn't go, anyways, we can talk about this later in terms of the details, but in general, I would say if we can do it internally, I think that's great. We would save on costs. I think, the team has done a great job of posting things in a much more timely fashion and getting it out to, board members and the public, which I think is really helpful. And then there was one last thing. What's that? Oh, the electronic voting. I think that's a really interesting thing, and we should probably, keep an eye on that because we do spend a lot of time with the roll call vote. I mean, it takes like 10, 15 minutes to call roll in our board meetings. And if there is a way to kind of just either press a button or, everyone votes and it tallies everything quickly, it would save time, I think, in terms of our board meetings. And I also think it's helpful. I don't know how our voting works, but if it's in an Excel spreadsheet, again, I'm very cautious about Excel spreadsheets and things getting overridden or not saved properly. I'd be curious to see how we might be able to, I don't know, what sort of safeguards are, in terms of preserving the voting records. But anyways, that's just, those are just some of my comments. Thank you.
Director Lawrence Galati.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Yeah, I also wanted to recognize the team because I think the hyperlinks and the agendas, they're beautiful. I opened mine on Adobe Acrobat and I can make notes in there. All my links are working. The one that I was trying to figure out is how to go back to the first page of the agenda because that's what you're constantly doing. And I just figured out how to do it here in Acrobat. So I think it works really well. I don't think there's any, I like how you went through the website and it seems pretty straightforward. I will imagine that maybe asking our community if they find it easy to look at the packages and videos will be helpful from their perspective as well. But I will say it works really well. From the electronic vote, I think it will be very advantageous to look at that and see how it's working for the new organization. I do have experience from a school board, using software that all the basically districts are using. So if there is something like that that can be utilized without spending a lot of extra money, will be great. But yeah, thank you so much for looking into this. It's great to be able to find what you're looking for.
Thank you. Moving on to Director Painter. Do you have any questions or comments? I don't see your hand raised, but you might.
I do have a couple of comments and just ditto to what the other directors have said. The work that's been done and the improvements are really noticeable and enormously helpful. I'll use another example because I had raised it, putting the informational items on the board agenda as a hyperlink at the bottom of the agenda is really helpful. It makes it very easy to find that information. I just want to add to what's been said that, we're about to embark on this governance and hopefully operational evaluation review process, whatever we're calling it. So I think it totally makes sense at this point to stick with all of the great in-house work that we're doing and look at sort of prioritizing how we would add things like the electronic roll call. I think, I would just absolutely agree. That's a lot of time in our board meetings and even XCOM meetings. So if others are creating a tool where that could be improved, I think that's a place we would want to look. We as a city of Napa, we use Granicus, we use iLegislate. They're both great tools. I don't tend to use the internal annotation tools because I keep my own notes in either Word documents or otherwise. So I'm not as concerned about creating immediately and other annotation tools as much as those links to get us right to the information in a really easy way. So those are my comments at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Painter. Moving on to Concord, questions or comments? I see Director Nakamura has a hand
Thank you.
raised.
Yes, I am going to raise both hands in a minute. I really, I really appreciate this discussion item. I have been asking for improvements to our agendas and how they're presented to us as directors for maybe 2 years. This has been something that has been really important to me as I try to prepare for meetings. In the city of Concord, we use the Agenda to Go, and it is a phenomenal package platform that allows you to see each item, see each attachment, see the correspondence, the public correspondence that pertains to that item, and as well the slides. Excuse me. And so I still think, even though there have been improvements, and I appreciate staff's work on the what they've been doing with the hyperlinks, I will say that I still need to bring my laptop and not my iPad to the meetings. It just doesn't, the agendas don't work on my iPad. I have to bring my other computer with me. And so it's still not where I'd like to see us be. And all of this with the caveat that the cost may outweigh what I'm asking for. I don't know how much time, staff time, is being put into this, and we haven't heard a price tag of what the cost would be. But I do think that it really is, the platform that Agenda to Go has not been clunky for me at all. It's very easy to use. You can make notes, you can annotate to your heart's content, and it has the ability to see each item and the slides. And there's just something about it that I really would love to see us at least explore further. The roll call vote, I do think that there's a lot of benefits to that, because I think just, sometimes we spend 30 minutes on just the vote on certain items. So I think that with the safeguards in hand, I think that's something for us to watch for. And those are all of my notes. Except for I would add that the Agenda to Go, I do think that Agenda to Go helps me as a director or as a council member be much more prepared for meetings, item by item. And I, again, appreciate staff bringing this forward for discussion. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Director Murphy, I see your hand on the button.
Yes, and I think we just had a blackout. No, we just had our lights turn off. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I want to thank staff again for the presentation. I know we've, since my time on the board, the improvements have been amazing, especially, being a new council member, and certainly I'm guessing our residents who come in for the first time seeing 1,000-page packet, it can be quite overwhelming. Certainly as a council member, seeing 1,000-page packet out on a Thursday after a Tuesday council meeting with 500 pages is fairly overwhelming. The county supervisor's on the call. I know I'm just a baby. I know y'all have even more pages. So I just say all that to say that staff, y'all have done a tremendous job, certainly with the bookmarking. I think that's a huge piece of access that allows people to track what's going on in the meetings. It was great to see the YouTube section that you listed also. Just wanted to uplift that. I wasn't aware of that. So I think if there is a way to kind of continue to promote that, I think folks find a lot of value in rewatching the videos afterward and seeing the bookmarks in the YouTube section. If there's a way to connect that to the website a little bit more, or again, I know that's going to be some type of work product there, but I think there's a value of that, certainly because YouTube is just different than the website. I know there might be some challenges in figuring out how to operationalize that, but I think there would be a lot of excitement for folks, especially residents and constituents that I have, who are looking to look at the video pretty much before they look at the board agenda packet, mostly because the agenda packets are so long. The video seems a lot less overwhelming. One of the other things I wanted to say too, I love the community events. I love that you all have tracked ways that the agendas have gone to different areas of the website. When I go to the website and look at the agenda, even though it comes to my email, I still go to the website to look at the agenda packets. I usually go under board of directors and then go to the board and committee meetings. But it's also great to see that, dependent upon your I guess your persona with MCE, if you're looking at community events, I'm guessing those community events are also other things that MCE is doing there too. So you showed 2 board meetings happening this week, but I'm guessing you also all add like the Because of Youth Festival and those type of events. Okay, I'm seeing affirmation here. The what I would love outside, so we've used Granicus, and we actually in the city of Pinot we've transitioned to Civic Clerk, which has been great for us. What I will say is I personally don't think those are necessary given staff's progression over the last 5 years. For me, it's been great. I will agree with some of my colleagues. We're a 38-member board, and while we do have some representatives that have consolidated their votes into one person, we still have about 30 people probably every time voting. That's pretty much as similar as the state senate. So I'm guessing like the state senate doesn't always have roll call votes where each one goes one at a time. So I'm guessing we probably should lean into that. I think what would be helpful as we watch Clean Power Alliance is also just doing some time assessment. I think we all have felt anecdotally that the time of the roll call takes a long time, but just really understanding like if we can in the next couple of meetings, or if some staff can do some audits of the past meetings, how much time are we actually using to vote? It would be valuable to have that information if we're voting on an electronic voting tool, just to discuss efficiencies. But I do think it's valuable, and I certainly think it would be helpful for many of us just to be able to cast online votes. And then last thing I'll say is I think I'm guilty of this, but I really do appreciate the board clerks really reaching out via text message as a way to confirm attendance. I know I'm not the best in following up on my confirmation via email, although I do my best to attend all meetings. I don't know if there's a better way to do that. I'm imagining that takes a lot of you all's time. While I appreciate it, I will say that I imagine that does take your time. So, and I know we've talked about this as an executive committee, as a board before, but if there are better ways to handle that, I mean, this could come from our organizational assessment too, but I don't know if there's a better way. I just wanted to name that as something that I personally have challenges with in terms of, confirming my attendance via email. Typically, if a board clerk reaches out to me, I will confirm via that way, but I just wanted to note that because I know that staff has worked on that process a lot. So just want to say thank you so much. Really grateful for the work that y'all are doing. And in some ways, I hope that the best practices that you all are having are also being shared out with our cities outside of us, because I do know that there are many of our city clerks come together, especially in Contra Costa monthly, and they oftentimes share best practices, share what's working, what's not working. If that's not something that MCE is doing, maybe there's an opportunity to also collaborate there to see what are the CCAs doing, what are the CCA board clerks doing that are best practices, and perhaps what are our city and county clerks doing, and how can we're all abiding by the Brown Act, so how can we make the best possible actions based on that? So thank you.
Thank you. I think before we go to other board member or executive committee members, I think Justine Parmalee wanted to add something.
Yeah, I just wanted to flag that I think it's a great idea for us to audit and do a time assessment. I think that would be part of the e-voting work to be done. But I also wanted to spitball something. I'm going to get a side eye from legal for spitballing on this, but I wanted to go back to the continuing to promote YouTube bookmarks. So one of our other CCAs in this state will actually include the bookmark to the agenda item in the minutes.
Mhm.
And so when they're reviewing the minutes, you can click on the minutes to review what was actually said.
Mhm.
Something for us to consider as well. I'm getting some nods, so okay.
No side eye. I would like
No
to
side eye.
reflect, no side eye.
Spitballing sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Justine.
Thank you.
Other ex-com members in
Director
Concord?
Darling? Here.
Yes, I don't see you because the camera's not on you, but okay,
Yeah.
there you are.
My fellow board members are more. So my yeah, I support a lot of what the other folks have said. We use Granicus within the city of Walnut Creek, and I've talked to our clerks about it, and they say, yeah, that every program has its pluses and minuses, and they're very open if you guys want to talk to them. Elena and Susie will be more than happy to share their experiences. The functionality that I'm looking for that is difficult right now is there's not a good way to go back in time and search. I was looking for a way to come up, but when we were talking, we redid some of our governance documents, I think in 2022. And I was trying to go back and figure out how some of the things that we changed, where those had come from, and look at the meeting notes. And it was really hard to do. I ended up, you have to kind of go to Google and do a Google search. And we should have a search function within um, our own archives. And the other thing that the way our archives work within the city is you can click on the meeting and instantly see what agenda items were that day, and then just move down to the next meeting. Because you're kind of like, okay, it was 2022. It was kind of summer, and just kind of start clicking through. Making that process easier will be really rewarding to us. Because that institutional memory is something that I think many of us, you need to go back and refresh, because, it's been a while. I can't remember exactly what we did and didn't do. And I do like the hyperlinks. I also like the ability in I Legislate in Granicus so that the public comment letters just get appended onto the agenda item. So when I go back and look at an agenda item, I'll see the staff report, the attachments, and then the comment letters at the bottom of that. So I can go back and reference those really pretty easily. And we don't get anywhere near as much as we do with the city, but it's still nice to be able to go back and remember, okay, what did we hear from different folks? But thank you for all the effort. I really love being able to do the little Google spreadsheet and remembering to RSVP that way. It's helped me a bunch, because I used to always like, should I just email Jessica? I can't remember if I emailed her or not.
Yeah, I think that the new RSVP button is a great addition.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in Concord?
I do have a follow-up. This is Director Nakamura.
Okay.
I also appreciate the RSVP button, and I'm sure that staff appreciates it when I use it. My apologies for any extra time that I create if I don't. I think that the improvements that have been made are really going to be appreciated by the public. I think it helps with the transparency and the ease of finding information on our website, and the bookmarks that are linked to the video. So I really appreciate staff's efforts on that front. And that's all I want to say at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Nakamura. Before I move on to public comment, I want to add a couple of things. First of all, I certainly appreciate, as many of you have said, the improvements that have been made that makes it easier to get through I don't know what that is that keeps popping up. To get through a 1,000-page packet or 600-page packet more easily. I know that in the past I was sitting here scrolling to get to those items. And I know there is a way to do it with iAnnotate, but not easy. I think a couple of things. Now, we're not really talking about the website, but Tanya walked us through how to get to the meetings. It's a bit bureaucratic, I would say. On our website, and we're small, but we have something called public meetings, a button. You just press that button and you get to the agenda, you get to the video, you get to the minutes once they're done, and it's all there. Our website, the search function doesn't work that well. And I know we're a huge agency and we've redone our website, but I think in that process, we have eliminated some of the simpler ways to get to things. So I think that's just something to think about. So somebody shouldn't have to go to YouTube to see our videos. They should be able to click on it. And I like your idea of adding in the minutes how to get to that part. So just a couple of things there. I also want to say our clerks in Marin all get together on a monthly basis and share techniques. And I'm sure it sounds like Contra Costa does that too, and I'm sure most of them do. I also liked Concord's suggestion of looking at Agenda to Go. Maybe that's an easy one. And I will say this thank you, Director Nakamura, is for an agency with a somehow $800 million budget, I'm not opposed to you all spending more money to make it easier for the public as well as the board of directors to get through this information. We have more interest from the public than we've had in years. Let's make it as easy as possible. But I would also say there's probably interim steps to get to an easier way to do it rather than taking on huge implementation. I just think, there's some easy steps. Maybe our clerk can help, maybe connecting with some of the other clerks in the CCAs. And so I think you guys have done an amazing job, and I'm really grateful that you brought that here because I think, I've had the opportunity to talk to you over the last year or so, Justine, and you've been really accommodating. But this is a great opportunity. So with that, I want to open it up to the public. Members of the public in San Rafael want to have any comments? Seeing none. Concord, any
No
members?
of the public here in Concord?
Okay. Director Painter, anybody in Napa?
No members of the public.
And I don't think Belvedere has any members of the public there. Is that correct?
Correct. No members of the public.
Okay, and anybody on Zoom, Tanya, Madam Clerk?
I see no raised hands online, Chair.
Okay, let's bring it back. I think you got direction. I don't believe you need a motion. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, I'm sorry. Director Perret wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, and sorry if comments were earlier. I thought it was only questions. I was just going to make a comment, piggybacking off of what Director Kohler just spoke of. I think if we do need to make an additional investment in the right technology, I would support that. And just one thing to think about is staff time saved with that technology. Because if board members can't find something, who do we go to? We go to staff, right? And so we're eating into staff time asking for things. Newer staff that come on board at MCE may want to go back and look at things from the past on something they're working through on a project. And if it's harder to find that, that's wasted time essentially. And as the public can't find things, right, if they grow frustrated, that's when PRA requests come, which ends up eating up time on our legal team. So I would also support an investment if that's where we end up going.
Great, thank you. So with that,
Madam Chair, I just wanted to add one more thing. I
All
know
right.
great conversation. Director Darling mentioned something that I think was very important, which is I think I don't want to paraphrase, but it seemed to be a value of like knowledge base. So I know when we go to the website and when we're looking up our agendas, we oftentimes in the agenda can do like a control find on our you're able to do that now. But I think I'm a part of a group called the Abundance Network, which is basically for local elected officials receiving information around housing and things like that. They actually launched something called like a knowledge base and abundance bot. It's essentially like a chat bot that is able to like curate searchable library of resources for local elected officials, specifically on like the abundance paradigm of framing. I think this would be great to if we were thinking about new tools. I think that there's value to with so much that MC is working on for folks to be able to say, I want to learn more about procurement, or I want to learn about these type of keywords. And instead of actually looking for the keyword itself, which is what you can do on the website now and the agendas now, I think what would be better is kind of having having an AI power tool that would train the use of the knowledge base around like what our CCA is working on. I'm happy to put in contact staff if you all want to explore that, but I think it's been super helpful for me to kind of learn about all things housing through this tool. Of course, this tool will be used for our CCA if we operationalized it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, with that, I was reminded that there was unfortunately something was left off the agenda, which are board announcements. I would ask if any members of the executive committee have any announcements in San Rafael. Seeing none, Director Painter?
No announcements.
Okay, in Concord, are there any board or executive committee member comments?
I see
Announcements?
raised hands, Chair.
Okay, great, thank you. Committee and staff members, staff matters, is there anything from, well, we already asked for board announcements, so we took care of that. Any staff matters that need to be brought up? Okay, with that, I will move to adjourn, and it is 1:07. Thank you all.